GMGM, welcome to another Touchgrass podcast episode. I'm sure all of you have been seeing the institutional partnerships on the timeline. You've probably been seeing the founders of Canton on many different podcasts. I've been intrigued myself, and I wanted to get someone on the pod to talk more about it. Melvis, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. All right. Cause let's start it off. Like, can you tell us a little bit about your background? There's always a thesis when someone, joins a new organization. Talk to us about, your background, joining Canton, and how the journey's been so far.
Yeah. So, name is Melvis, and I'm the executive director of the Canton Foundation. Prior to Canton, my background was within traditional financial markets. So, started my career at Morgan Stanley, then gravitated towards Goldman Sachs, where I moved from risk management to macro trading. And then, as the trading side of the world is evolving towards more electronic, moved to JP Morgan to join the electronic FX and credit desk as well. In 2016, while doing research around Greek government bonds, I stumbled upon an article that talked about how some people were moving assets into a thing called Bitcoin. For me, coming from having studied economics at university, this was quite fascinating because it was some form of quote unquote internet money, had the properties of what money is, like a store of value, medium of exchange, fungibility, and the likes. But beyond all of that, also the whole concept of it being built on a technology called blockchain with distributed ledgers and it as a technology was quite interesting and fascinating. Here was something that could be money, could be an investment product, but there's also a strong core tech underneath it. So just the intrigue led me into the rabbit hole where I'll be trading at night, but trading during the day, and then at night I'll be learning as much as I could about this new tech and ecosystem. So the intrigue and time spans grew and grew, where in 2020 moved over full time into crypto, where I joined the global exchange called OKX to lead the market maker program, and then eventually gravitated towards strategic partnerships. And having worked there from then till 2024, come 2025, felt that, okay, having learned my core background in traditional markets and institutional crypto, plus some activities around the retail side, felt that being able to now merge the two made perfect sense. So fortunately, I was able to be introduced to the team that builds the Canton Network digital asset, and at the same time, the foundation board of directors were also looking for a head of the foundation. So went through the rounds of interviews, and luckily joined the Canton Foundation to help lead the stewardship of everything under this intriguing network, which we'll dive into later on.
Yeah. I mean, traditionally, it's been really hard to get someone of your background and pedigree to sort of commit to crypto full time. I understand the switch to the exchange. When you heard of, like, maybe let's start off with the Canton thesis. What was the thesis when you first heard it? And maybe talk about like what attracts these institutions to Canton Network.
Yeah. So with regards to the Canton thesis, basically going back to the early days. If you take a look, if you step back and take a look at how applications and products have been built previously within blockchain networks, is that we were building and launching things in a binary fashion, in the sense that we were either building on a public permissionless blockchain or a private blockchain. And then within that, there were discussion around, okay, is it permissionless? Is it permissioned? Is it transparent? Does it have private components? But with each side, there's a lot of trade-offs that have to happen. When you go to a public permissionless chain, you get transparency and interoperability, but you don't have privacy and controls. And then when you go to the flip side, you get a private chain, you're on your own isolated island where you control everything and permissions. However, there's no composability with everyone else because it's very permission and access control. But then when you zoom out in the real world, things are not black or white. It's more heterogeneous than that. For example, if you think about the largest open network in the world, the internet, with the same browser, you can go to a private website, like your bank account, log in, and even when you log in, you don't get to see everyone's information. You only see your information. There's risk controls, access controls, product controls, and everything. And then with that same browser, you can go to a public website, like a sports website, Wikipedia, and yet all these are happening within the same internet protocol. So within blockchains, why is it very binary? So the team, Digital Asset, upon starting their company in 2014, doing research, seeing lessons across how other chains had launched, and also working on partnerships and engagements with the largest institutions, identified that one of the biggest fundamental tenets that institutions need is privacy, in a sense that they're heavily regulated. They have client confidentiality and data protection clauses, and also just personally, internally, as a business, you have your own proprietary data, internal risk controls, and compliance initiatives, and you don't want to leak everything that you do publicly. So these core challenges were some things that were highlighted, and so Canton was built as an institutional grade public permissionless blockchain purposely built for institutional finance. And then within it, it has the components to facilitate configurable privacy controls and also the core value of blockchain, interoperability. So that's where we came from, and this is where we are today.
Melvis, one thing that I'm also really curious about, can you talk to me a little bit about, how do these different ecosystems interact with the Canton ecosystem?
Yeah, so Canton Network is an institutional grade chain purpose built for institutional finance. And within that, like the core tenets of a vibrant and active ecosystem are infrastructure, applications, assets, and users. And today, on Canton, institutions can engage with any and all of these areas across the network. For example, they can run infrastructure such as validators, custody, wallets, and also oracles. They can build products and applications across DeFi like lending and borrowing, prediction markets, perps, all the way to payments, collateral mobility, and also real-world asset tokenization platforms. They can launch assets similar to, for example, stable coins, Canton standard tokens. Canton Coin itself can be used to facilitate velocity of applications in the network, and also money market funds. And then lastly, institutions can become users themselves. On Canton, we have B2B, B2B2C, and even peer-to-peer applications where users can come in and facilitate engagements. Lastly, institutions can also join the Canton Foundation as members. And the foundation is an independent nonprofit that is responsible for stewarding the governance and long-term development of the Canton Network shared infrastructure. And within the foundation, we support transparency, decision-making, and ecosystem coordination and growth across everyone involved. And then lastly, within Canton, incentives are very well aligned in the sense that when you join a network, you provide a utility, you get rewarded for the utility that you provide in Canton Coin. And then overall, by holding Canton Coin, you become and you own a piece of the world's economic transaction traffic. So it's pretty cool in terms of the level and dynamic nature of how you can get involved in Canton and be rewarded for it as well.
Yeah, just come and do things on Canton. That's all I'm hearing.
That is true. That is it. Yeah, we're here to help and facilitate it across the board, from not just the foundation, but across partners with partnerships and engagement.
Awesome. Can you give us an example of what a public-private blockchain means? Like, let's assume two banks or institutions A and B. Like, what could they do on Canton? Like, what are the different ways these institutions are interacting with the ecosystem right now.
Yeah. So to correct you, Canton is a public permissionless blockchain, but then the components allows you to build in privacy preserving solutions. So the beauty about how the network is structured architecturally is that it's a network of networks. So every single participant in a network has a node that they can utilize to partake in transactions or use it to launch applications. And in doing so, you can structure your applications within that node all the way down to the sub-transaction level, the level of privacy and controls that you want your app to engage in and facilitate. From there, you can enable other nodes to interact with your own subnet, your own Canton. And then when you then want to engage with someone else on a separate Canton, you then utilize our interoperability layer, which is called the global synchronizer, in order to sync all of the data across each sovereign Canton natively and with the full privacy and access controls and whatever you've built within your own Canton throughout the transaction itself. And one little fun fact about our network is that the reason why it's called the Canton Network is actually because the core development team is based out of Zurich. And within Switzerland, there are a series of federated cantons. With each canton, it has its own taxes, rules, regulations. However, they all interoperate under one nation called Switzerland. So with the same realm, within Canton, I can have a Canton, you can have your own Canton, different products, different access controls. But when we want to talk to each other to compose a transaction or send data or value, we can all do that under the global synchronizer, making it the Canton Network.
That makes sense. I think the name, I'd never thought about the name in such detail. I think it's really beautiful, the amount of thought that's put into it. Can you talk to us a little bit about obviously we've been seeing all the partnerships on the timeline. I'd love to get a rundown from you, like which institutions are doing stuff on Canton, and then maybe if you could share, like, what are these institutions doing on Canton?
So at the end of the day, Canton Network is a public permissionless blockchain that allows you to build applications or assets, launch assets with configurable privacy controls and interoperability. So in doing so, many of our partners are able to come in and build solutions that fit their current business and be able to launch it within the same regulatory regimes that they are currently working in. And then on top of that too, our network was purposely built for institutional finance. So start from the jump, starting out, that's where our focus was, but I'll add more details about where we are today. So within it, on the institutional front, we have partners building applications in a huge gambit of different verticals. So from payments with privacy, collateral mobility, real world asset tokenization, all the way to some have built sports betting application, life insurance and annuities, and also physical oil and gas settlements solutions. And so, so those are the different core verticals. And within it, the blockchain can facilitate any type of full life cycling of an asset that you may want to build in. And the great thing, and then another key thing is that due to the sub-transaction level privacy and controls, the builders or the institutions on our network are able to build in the granular business logic to fit what their traditional workflows may look like. The beauty is that with our smart contract language, you can basically code within a smart contract the same level of legal agreement details to fit what you may need to facilitate like regulatory requirements and jurisdictional restrictions that may come into play.
That's awesome. I think it's like smart contracts gave you what finance was able to do on chain, and then Canton enables like a legal layer on top so that you can do it the right way. Are you able to name some institutions like
So On the network, we have some of the largest banks, such as Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, HSBC, BNP Paribas, Bank of America, you name it. And then we also have financial markets infrastructure providers like NASDAQ, Broadridge, TradeWeb, and also most recently, the largest central securities depository in the world called the DTCC, which currently has over $100 trillion worth of assets. It's also been a part of the network as a member of the foundation, a super validator, and also a board chair for the foundation. And then and then beyond that, as I mentioned, specific bespoke verticals where teams are building, like the sports betting, life insurance, and the like.
For sure. I wanna double click on the validator side. I think when I was on the conference route last year, especially Q4, I heard a lot of things about running a validator on Canton is so lucrative. NASDAQ's running one now. Can you talk to me about there was so much talk on crypto Twitter about NASDAQ is now running a validator on Canton. Why is this iconic? Like, what makes this partnership in particular so iconic that everyone's talking about it?
Yeah, so the key thing before I jump into, I'll talk about the structure of the network and the token economy first. So within Canton, our network was structured with a fair launch. There were no pre-sales, pre-mines, or pre-allocations of Canton coin. Within our network, we say that on Canton, incentives are aligned. So a year and a half ago, when the network launched on mainnet, all the initial key participants, which are the validators, the super validators, and the application providers, were able to start mining Canton coin for utility that they provided to the network. So we started at zero, and then over time, as you provide utility generating transaction network, you generate Canton coin. So with it, having someone like NASDAQ. Oh, and then one other thing I wanted to add is that in the technical architecture or structure of Canton, the core operators of the Canton Network and its interoperability layer, called the global synchronizer, are the super validators. So the super validators facilitate and they provide the technology that allows for my Canton to talk to your Canton to facilitate the interoperability atomic settlement. And they also engage in and participate in the network governance and token standards as well. So within this, having NASDAQ as a super validator on the network is very important. And it highlights our deep institutional focus in not only building tech, but facilitating partnerships and alignment in network governance with a long-term focus. And for those who don't know, NASDAQ is one of the largest and systematically important exchanges in the US, and one that is very well renowned and known globally. And so facilitating a partnership like this is a long journey and a testament to our long-term focus of building the fundamental infrastructure for capital markets. And yeah, so this has been very instrumental, showcasing that we don't just have partners joining the network for a little short stint, but they all have a long-term vision as to how this technology can be very transformative in the whole fundamental infrastructure, as a whole fundamental infrastructure to capital markets itself.
Yeah, for sure. And we love to talk about how these long-term partnerships shape the future. A lot of our listeners get a kick out of understanding how long such deals take. Like I will always ask, like, hey, how long does this deal take? Can you share a little bit about how long this NASDAQ deal took?
So beyond just NASDAQ, all the other institutional partners that I mentioned, these are firms that are heavily regulated, and they don't just quickly jump into the next new and shiny thing because it's the most hyped initiative, right? And then one other thing to highlight is that the team that built the Canton Network digital asset, they started researching, building, and doing the partnerships since 2014. So most people within the crypto native circles are now hearing about Canton, thinking it came out of nowhere, but these types of partnerships do not occur overnight. It's over a long time period of deeply understanding what the core pain points and opportunity sets for these institutions look like, setting some initial wins around pilots and understanding how to provide value, not just capital efficiencies or operational efficiencies, but values and incremental steps to improving the operations of these institutions. And then from there, facilitating real production application launches with real results. And so, as opposed to many instances in crypto where tokens are launched without a use cases set, without partnerships set, and without the products fully available, on Canton, we made sure that over that 10-year stint, we concertedly worked with our partners and improved the tech to get to where we are. And that's why upon launch, many people are very surprised where we came from, but it was not just launching and being the loudest person without something underneath the hood.
Yeah, it's not a typical logo X logo partnership.
Mhm.
It's here's in the
Yeah.
building.
And the things that the logos that people are starting to see, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes to get to this stage.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to talk about all the institutions building on Canton or partnering with the network. You know, I used to do a lot of APAC institutional BD at my time at Wormhole. Um, has institutional interest only been from the West for Canton, or do you see sort of the Eastern players also warm up to the idea of coming on chain? What's sort of the demographic like for institutional partners coming on Canton right now?
Yeah, so the Canton Network, it's a global permissionless blockchain. The core team that built it and initial partnerships were across Americas and Europe, but we also have some deep roots within Asia as well, in the sense that the digital asset team, they have offices in Hong Kong. Myself, within the foundation, we have four team members in Asia as well. And also, two of our key foundation members are SBI out in Japan, and then also HSBC as well. And also, there's one of the largest prime brokers in crypto called LTP out in Singapore, are also part of the network foundation, contributing to the governance and also some of the infrastructure and development of products itself. So we are very global in terms of what we're doing and have a distributed network of people who are part of the foundation, people building within Canton itself. Across the whole network, there are over 400 partners within Canton. Within the foundation, we have 51 members. We've done work with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange as well and others. Yeah, so it's very
Inbound must be crazy right now. Like I am pretty sure you and the team are just locked in, talking to different partners, flying out, meeting them in person. I know we're closing up on time, Melvis. I could ask so many different questions right now. In the interest of time, can you talk to me about, what does the future look from here? Like, let's think like 1 year, 2 years. Like, what is the team focusing on? What can you share with our audience?
So the long-term vision is to have Canton become the foundational infrastructure across capital markets. But within technology, within crypto, things shift and change pretty actively. For example, the initial scope of what this could look like would be, if you ask the founders, it's very drastically different from 2014 to where we are today. But the beauty about how our network is structured and the governance is that we have a very nimble and active foundation, in the sense that within the foundation, the core operators are the super validators. In addition to that, too, we have committees that the super validators are involved, plus the validators, application providers, and others in the network can come and contribute to not only the governance, the tech and operations, legal, finance, and also we launched an accountability committee as well to help us facilitate activities within the network. And so long-term fundamental infra for capital markets, but within that, I try to position the foundation and its team to some shorter term goals and initiatives. So within like Q1, the three main areas that we're going to be focused on facilitating is expanding and supporting our developer growth. We are launching a Canton Development Fund. We'll be doing hackathons, and also we are building more active tools and resources within the network. As we talked about earlier, my team and I, we're going to be on the conference trail as well, engaging with different partners across podcasts, AMAs, panels, and the likes, because many people still don't know Canton. And it's great to educate and introduce them what they could do on Canton and how we can support them. And then lastly, my team is very active and engaged with supporting all of our builders on their go-to-market phases and launch on the network. So we have builders across like TradFi partners who are launching application in our real asset tokenization, payments, and cloud mobility. But and also within DeFi, there are dApps launching across prediction markets with privacy, dark pools, lending and borrowing, and even vault products as well.
Awesome, awesome. Love to hear all the developer support. A lot of our, well, not a lot, but a minor part of our audience is, upcoming devs, college students who are always looking to build new stuff on new ecosystems. Is there something that exists on Canton, like that doesn't exist on Canton today, that you're like, okay, if I could get a team to build this, that would be super cool. Like this is a super unique use case for what you could do on Canton.
I would say within Canton, because our blockchain is an open public permissionless chain, it can facilitate the build of any type of dApp. And so if anyone wants to build something with the ability to add the privacy preserving solutions within it, this is the place to do so. And then on top of that too, guess what? You can also build that same app with fully transparent capabilities as well. So we give you the flexibility of launching the apps to fit your user base, your regulatory requirements, jurisdictions, and anything like that. And so, yeah, so we're pretty wide open. I wouldn't say there's one main core subset, but we're available to support across various verticals.
Awesome. All right. We're close up on time. Melvis, thank you so much for the time. This has been highly educational for me, and I'm pretty sure our audience is gonna, love all the chatter that we've had. You're just gonna see clips all over the timeline. Yeah, I'm gonna see you on the conference chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.